fishing season opened up, and Eddie, Abraham, and Jean, they went out to mine for worms, which was their end of June routine. In the dark, with great big flashlights for the big ones on the lawn, with some little butter tubs till early morning's break of dawn. Then Eddie said I'll pick some up in Goobies. Later that day, Eddie took his own pickup truck to the bay. The other two guys went together. Eddie said he knew the way, but then when they got out so far, Abraham said kind of firm, "We should pull in there now, boys, and get a couple of tubs of worms, in case Ed forgets to stop in Goobies." They picked up a tub of butter and a jar of local jam, a loaf of sliced up baker's bread, butter, and some flakes of ham. And in the coolers in the back, just like the ones you find at home near the juice, some little white containers made of styrofoam. From Andy's Worm Farm, 20 Main Road, Goobies. When they got out to the counter, the cashier looked all upset. She was looking at their purchase with her eyebrows in a knot. She leaned in close and tipped her head up quick as if to say, "Come here." "Did you check into the tub?" she whispered into Eugene's ear. "They says we got a worm thief here in Goobies." Eugene laughed out with his pate and told her she exaggerates. He popped the lid and said, "Sherlock, this thing," he said, "is full of baits." "Oh, perhaps," she said, "but several people here were cheated and are hurt. Gone into the pond and paid $6.50 for a tub of dirt. Sure, the Mounties got a path bed in the Goobies." Curious, they went to Andy's just to have a look around, but when they got in closer, they were both surprised at what they found. "What's that there?" said Abraham, "tucked in there between them sheds. That truck," he said, "it looks familiar." "Nothing, boy, I'm sure that's Ed's." They wondered what was Eddie at in Goobies. Well, then a man came from the house, neatly dressed and looking sharp, went to the pan of Eddie's truck and lifted up an orange tarp, and tubs of worms were hidden there. Andy's Worm Farm stamped in red. They opened the containers and they flicked the worms back into bed. Eddie was no stranger here in Goobies. So Andy sold his worms, it seems, and then he went off and got Ed to steal the product back for him to cut down on his overhead. Eventually the word was spread. From St. John's to St. John's within, people went to Andy once, but no one goes to him again. Andy only shagged himself in Goobies. Eugene said to Abraham, "They're at that all the time, I suppose. And I bet you that's why Eddie told us to go on ourselves. He knows. They thought of all the trips they'd taken trouting with him in the past. Eddie always took his own truck, and he always stopped for gas, right around the time they got to Goobies." Boys were going to tell Ed that they knew, but then they said, "What odds?" And Andy gave up on the worm farm after, now he's at the sods. No one needs worms anyway. Codfish will eat whatever's aboard, from bits of pork to foam earplugs to old frayed ends of bungee cord, picked up along the highway out by Goobies. Irving was in trouble too without that worm bait revenue. If the price of gas goes down, they'll have to sell the moose statue. Even the restaurants struggle there with people eating alpha-lee. They had to change the fish and chips and make the gravy gluten-free. Things will never be the same again in Goobies. Well, that's what I heard anyway. From a friend who said she heard it from another person there, but it turns out that every word of it is lies. There is no worm farm or a sod farm. Nothing even handy. It was made up, sure I don't think there even was an Andy. Don't believe a word you hear in Goobies.